Hello. As you can see, Joe is making a thing. um, I finished work a bit earlier than I thought. I'm still working from home, but it doesn't mean I don't have a lot of things to do. And not only I finished in advance today, but I'm still alone, so there's not a lot of noise right now. So I'm using it to make a video. What we're doing today, unfortunately for the people who are following me for Doctor Who stuff, unfortunately we're not doing that. Sorry. No, we're drawing Shaman King things because, as you may be aware, there's a remake of the anime, and it would be better to say there's a new anime altogether, and which is a really good thing because I really hated the old anime. Sorry for everyone who was watching it at the time and enjoying it, but I really hated it for a lot of reasons, which I'm probably going to go into because rambling is my thing, as you already know. What we are doing today is I'm an explanation first. Back when I discovered this manga, I was a teenager. I wasn't drawing very well, and like a lot of people that age, what I was doing was redrawing, copying panels I liked, which is kind of a thing I'm still doing today with TV shows and movies, where when I try to make watercolors out of screenshots I like, and a lot of people especially on the internet, like to say, no, it's bad to copy, it's terrible. It's not like that. It's not like that you're going to learn how to draw. But what's really important is not is avoiding claiming characters as your own when they're from something else, but copying things and saying, hey, I copied this to get some training. It's really good. You really should do it. It's a really good way to learn how to draw lines and how things work. And it was a really important thing for me. It was a really good training. I learned a lot of things at the time. I'm not straight up copying a panel. I'm going to do my own version of a panel I really like, and making it full color and stuff, instead of just black and white, and also a bit of my own style instead of the other style. And the panel is this one. It's Horo Horo meeting the bear, Apollo the bear. And what's going on in this? I made a photocopy. I made a copy, but I also have the book here. It's the French edition. It's the old crappy French edition, to be more precise. What's going on in this panel is Horo Horo is trying to make friends with this bear that has been this giant bear rejected by by bears and humans, and he was just really badly hurt by this bear, and he's still trying to face it, and he's still trying to make friends with it, and you think the bear is going to kill him, but he just licks the wound to prove he's kind of sorry he did that to him, and and he shares some alcohol with him, with the bear. And I thought that was a really cool scene. And the spoilers, but the hunters kill the bear right after that, and it's a really sad, really sad little plot thing. But that part with the bear licking Horo to say he's sorry, it's I really loved it, and I really want to make my own version of it. And as you can guess already, we're gonna talk about Shaman King a lot in this video, because I already said in the previous video that special interests were like sleeper agents, and small things could awaken them, and all of a sudden they are strong as they used to be. And that's exactly what happened to me with Shaman King this year. Yeah, I failed the perspective here, so I'm doing it again. Just gonna stick this up there so I can see it better. Like this is better. I'm gonna add the roots, 3 roots. I'm going to talk about Shaman King now. If you've read the manga, if you don't care about this, you might want to put this video on double speed mode to watch the drawing itself and not listen to my ramblings. Anyway, it's kind of an old manga at this point. Started publication before 2000, and it's about, basically, it's a shonen manga where people use ghosts to fight each other or help each other. And the main character is Asakura Yo, and I'm gonna add moss. There's snow on the ground in the original one, but it's my version, and I want moss under the snow. And yeah, the main character can see ghosts, and he's a very laid-back kid, and he's participating in a tournament where the winner can become it's a bit difficult to explain. The short version is the winner can become the king of all shamans, and realize their dreams. Basically, the winner can reshape the world the way they want to. The better explanation is basically they come in contact with what's called the Great Spirit, which is it's not really, some characters refer to it as God, but it's not. It's a Gestalt entity made of every single soul of every single thing that was ever alive at any point on planet Earth. Anything that ever died, anything that ever lived, anything that ever died, ended up in the Great Spirit. So it's kind of a god, but it's also kind of everyone and everything. It's also kind of nature, and it's also kind of heaven and hell, because these souls bring with them their memories of the real world, and they build their own little communities inside of the Gestalt entity. So if you lived a life full of sadness and regrets and bad things, you end up in one of the communities where people like that conglomerate after death, and you basically end up in hell, in your own little form of hell. There's a shit ton of different kinds of hell in this manga. Every culture has their own version, basically. So this kid is participating in this tournament to be able to use the Great Spirit to reshape the world. How do I put this? He doesn't have a very ambitious ambition, if that makes sense. His dream is living without effort. He just wants people to leave him alone and do whatever he wants without hurting anyone. And he doesn't like working. He doesn't like um, putting effort into things, and he wants everyone to be able to reach happiness in life without having to work and do stuff they don't enjoy. So at first it sounds like very very lazy character, and you'd be right. He's the definition of laziness. But because he wants everyone to have the right to be lazy, he puts paradoxically he works a lot towards this goal. There's a lot of very cool characters in this, but I don't. There's not a lot of shonen mangas where I really, really like the main character, and Yo is a main character I really like. I realize I haven't shown Yo. Here it is. He's not your typical shonen manga hero. He's very, I'm not gonna say level-headed, because he's kind of dumb sometimes, but it's really not the kind of hero you're used to see. He's falling asleep while watching a martial arts movie. And yeah, it's not every day that I really really like the main character in a especially an old shonen manga. Shonen mangas these days have more diverse main characters most of the time, with but the archetypal shonen hero back in the day wasn't. It was the same tropes were there every single time, and it was very repetitive. And Yo was a breath of fresh air. And this character here, Horo, is an Ainu from Hokkaido, and he's one of my favorite characters. in it. The spirit he's using to fight in the tournament is I'm gonna open a book again. Is Koropokel. It's a spirit, some kind of, I'm gonna say an elf or a fairy, but something similar, and it lives under. It's this little creature. It lives under this plant. I'm not even sure how you pronounce it. It's a specific plant, and it's at the risk of extinction, and so these Koropokels, these fairy type things, are at the risk of extinction too. And ancient times, they were friends with his people and explained a lot of things about nature to them and how to live with nature and stuff. And he's very, very unhappy that they're going extinct, and basically his dream is to become a farmer and make the biggest field of this plant the world has ever seen. And that's a really cute dream, and that's a very cute idea. And also, he's not really fighting in a traditional way. When Yo first learns he's going to fight an Ainu shaman, he's like, oh. He asks his friend Menta to find documentation on them, and his friend's like, they are very close to nature. You're probably going to meet a very traditional guy with a lot of power. And turns out the guy is using a snowboard to fight, and that's really funny. And also, he's kind of a hothead, which is really funny considering his powers are based on ice. I expected, when I first read it all the way back in 2004 or something like that, I expected him to be a sore loser. But no, he's a very, I don't know how to put this, gracious. He loses his first match against the main character, and instead of developing this rivalry or anything, you straight up invites him to stay at his home instead of looking for a hotel, and 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 they instantly become friends. Like, it's one chapter they're fighting in the tournament. The next one, Horo is already like, yeah, I lost against Joe because he was better than me. He's my friend now. Shut up. And yeah, there is zero phase where they kind of get angry or act as rivals, or no, there's none of that, and I thought that was really refreshing too. He's like, hey, he won fair and square, and he was better than me. A quick explanation: when the first fights of the tournaments, the selections, they have 3 matches and they have to win 2 of them to advance further. And he's like, yeah, I lost my first match. It's no big deal. I just have to win the next 2, and it's okay if I lost against Yo. He was just the he was just better than me. It's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. And I was like, yeah, That's really mature of him. I didn't expect that at all. And I really respected this character instantly because of it. There's a lot of unexpected things in this manga. It has a lot of shonen tropes like you wouldn't imagine, but at the same time, it also subverts a ton of them. Like it plays the good old power, power crawl, power grind of all shonen mangas. But the thing is, they set the power level of the the final boss, let's say, so high that they conclude there's no way we can reach that. We're gonna have to find another way. So I thought that was pretty funny and a cool subversion. They're gonna like, okay, how are we going to win against this number, this power level, to speak in Dragon Ball terms? And they conclude, we can't. Let's find another way. It takes them a lot of volumes, but they get there eventually, and I thought that was very funny. Like, oh, we can get more power doing this and that. Let's do this and that. And then they were like, no, okay, fuck this. We're gonna just find something else. Not saying every shonen manga should do this, but it was incredibly refreshing at the time. And I think that's pretty good for the line art. Welcome back. We're going to do the shadows first. And I don't have a lot of black left, so I don't know, maybe I'm gonna complete it with ink, because I don't want to change the watercolor thing right in the middle of the drawing, so anyway, I was talking about Shaman King. I mean, obviously, the thing with old mangas, there's always things that age badly. The author made a new version of the manga where he redrew a lot of things. Characters that were a bit off model, entire scenes, entire panels, entire pages at times. I was really impressed. There's one character who he used to draw with big lips, and that's a very that's a thing that aged really badly. The character is black, and so yeah, he changed that. And one of my biggest fears about the new version of the anime was, please change the design for this character. And thank God they did. So I'm really glad about that. I mean, we haven't seen him in the anime properly, but he's in the opening, and we can already see the design has been fixed. So yeah, thank God for that. There's but there's also things in the writing that you can't really fix, and I mean, there isn't a lot of women in the story, which isn't a big problem because the most important one is Anna is really, really cool. She's a really great character. She has a real role in the story. But apart from her, uh, I mean, there's June, the sister of. There's a lot of women in the periphery of the story, but not really in the story per se. It's not a huge problem the way the character design can be at times, but it's noticeable. I also made a post where I got some bad reactions on that post. I was listing things that were super cool in Shaman King and things that didn't age really well. And in the middle of things that didn't age well, I mentioned the fact that there's an imaginary Native American tribe in the manga called the Patch tribe, and that's not a problem in itself. Well, I really like the Patch. I find them really interesting, really funny. The problem is, you see, there's a lot of different cultures represented in this manga, and it's really cool. And one thing really bothered me with the Patch tribe, and it's not noticeable at first because it's a plot point that happens extremely late in the story, like not in the last volume, but one of the latest ones. Um, they meet a guy whose ghost is a is a literal alien, an alien that was lost on Earth and died on Earth, and his ghost is still around. Um, and it turns out this alien is responsible for a lot of the patch knowledge and culture. And I don't know, the trope of ancient aliens. My English isn't cutting it, but I'm not fond of that trope at all. I mean, and it's the only culture in the entire manga which is said to have inherited its knowledge and traditions from aliens. And I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way. Let's just put it like this. And some people in the comments were like, "Come on, are you really complaining about Native Americans characters in that manga and saying nothing about all the inaccuracies about every other people represented in this media?" I was like, no, it's not that. The problem is not the inaccuracies in general. The problem I have is literally the alien thing. That's the only problem I have with the patch. I don't mind that they're represented as poor. I don't mind the rest. I think it's consistent with the rest of the manga. But it's the alien thing that I really, really disliked. Speaking of which, everyone is broke in this manga, and that's the thing I really, really enjoy. It's kind of a recurring gag that nobody has money. Everyone is like in the margins of society, and the only characters who have money in this story are people who hate their their family, who is the one having money, not them specifically. So I mean, Yo own, has a house, but it's only because the rent is dirt cheap because nobody else wants to live there because it's the most haunted house in the entirety of Tokyo. Hey, it's the part where I color the thing and try to make it look good. um, I was talking about everyone being broke in Shaman King and how relatable that was. I don't have anything to add about that. I thought I could talk a bit about important messages I got from this manga and how it was important for me as a teenager. There's there's a there's a part in the manga, spoilers again, where there's basically a trolley problem, and if you know me a little bit, you already know how much I hate trolley problems. And the problems here is the main character must choose between saving his rival Ren or staying in the tournament. And they present this dilemma like it's this huge thing, this huge trolley problem thing. And what actually happens is that when Yo learns there's a way to save the guy, he's like, "Save him, please." I mean, of course, it's given weight and everything, but you don't see him hesitating. You see him being sad that he's no longer in the tournament and thinking it over after it happens. But in the moment, his gut reaction is, no, I have to save my friend. There's no... This isn't even a debate. Life is more important than whatever I could obtain through the tournament. And that really stuck with me at the time and over the years. If you have the choice to save one life, you have to do it. Also, the ending is really good, I think. The real ending, I mean, the guy was forced to stop his manga prematurely, and there was some sort of placeholder ending of sorts before he was able to come back to the manga and finish it properly. The real ending, I mean, is really good. If you don't want to be spoiled, I guess don't listen to the next part. I don't know if you care or not, but anyway, as I mentioned, the main villain is really powerful, and there's no way they can beat him. And it turns out they can't. They can't. He becomes the Shaman King. He becomes Shaman King, and he becomes one with the Great Spirit. And his dream was to basically destroy all of humanity and build his kingdom where only worthy people could stay. And yeah, as you can guess, that's why he's a villain. And he's been reincarnated through the centuries and hating humans a bit more every time he was resurrected. And he was abandoned as a child, and after and at first he could kind of deal with that, but after being resurrected over and over and over again and thinking about it for thousands of years, instead of letting it go away and the resentment fade away, it built up, and got worse and worse. And what happens is that he basically absorbs all the souls of the people still in the tournament and who haven't died yet, and fuses with the Great Spirit. And so everyone is in the Great Spirit now because everyone's dead. But because everyone's dead, everyone can also talk to him at the same time. And everyone can tell him, hey, humans have value. Everyone has value. And this chosen ones thing is crap. And the thing you think about humans is something you constructed in your head, and it's really extreme, and it's not true. It's not how things work. Humans aren't by nature selfish and bad. There are people who are selfish and bad, but it's not by nature. It's because they become like that, and that's what you became, basically, by thinking that. And there's still good in humanity, and humanity can still do good, but you have to take the risk. You have to let people try to become better. We're giving you the opportunity to try to be better than what you just did. So please undo what you just did, and because you can, because you fused with the Great Spirit, so you can do it now, and give another chance to people, and to Earth, and to humans, and let's just start again, and try to be better. And you can be better too. It's never too late to try to do better. You can try to be better right now and start now. And this whole philosophy of it's never too late, people can still change, people still have the ability to be better people, even super late in life. People can change their minds, and it's not bad to change your mind. I think that was a really important message to hear when I heard it. And as you can probably guess, the author is willing to go very far with this idea, considering the main villain, the endgame villain, wants to basically kill everyone. Which reminds me, because I'm trying to add some blood. This manga is kind of gory for a shonen manga. I mean, that's one of the reasons I didn't like the anime, the original anime, at all. It's the level of violence in it was nothing compared to the stuff that goes on in the manga. And I'm saying this because as if it was a good thing, obviously, which is weird, because gory doesn't mean better, obviously, but I think in a story where people are using dead people to fight, and there's a constant conversation about what death means and what life means, think it's really important actually to have parts that are kind of gory, to give weight to whatever you're saying. You can't have an entire arc about a family who has a tradition of basically killing people they think would make good zombies to serve their cause, and not make it gory. It would be, I think it would be even more disturbing if it wasn't. If you're talking about disturbing things, if you try to make them visually normal, it's even more disturbing than if you make the visuals gory, I think. I mean, it's just my opinion, but I have, the word might sound very extreme, but I have this hatred of media that uses cute things to talk about disturbing things. I don't know if I can, like, like Happy Tree Friends. I hate these kind of things. I think it's genuinely disturbing and distressing to watch. I have no problem watching horror movies and gory stuff. I have a problem when that's in a cute context. I find it extremely distressing when it's the case. Which is weird. I mean, I know, but oof. Which kinda brings me to my favorite character in Shaman King. Wanna know why my username on internet, ever since I arrived on internet years ago, has always been Johannes 8 or something like that? It's because of Shaman King, if you didn't know. It's because my favorite character is Faust 8. And Faust is amazing, and I'm gonna have to talk about him in the next segment of the video because I don't have time there, but oh my god, this character. He was so important for me. I mean, I really, really like Horo, but he's not my favorite character. He's really good though, which is why I'm drawing him. I need more Horo in my life. I can't wait to see his episodes. I really want to see his ice attacks on screen. And I really hope they're gonna do the chapters with the bear. I'm not sure I should keep him white or... You know what? I'm gonna make him a little brown. Because, I mean, he's not a polar bear. He's just drawn as white in the manga, but obviously some sort of grizzly bear. Which reminds me, when I was in British Columbia, there's a type of black bear over there that's not black, it's white instead, and it's called the kermode bear. And it's incredible, it's beautiful. I haven't seen one in real life, obviously, because they are super rare and super sacred too. And you get a really hefty fine if you try to hurt one, and which I mean, thank God for that. But they're not albino. They're just white. That's a local mutation. And yeah, if you want to see them, Google kermode bears. It's beautiful. I don't want to make Apollo a kermode bear, but I'm just thinking about them because he looks kind of white on the in the manga. So yeah, I'm gonna color him like that to make sure he doesn't look like a polar bear. I'm gonna let this dry and I'll be back with inks. Hey, time for ink. And if you think this is gonna look white, think again, because I want to put purple color on this. But first I'm gonna do extra shadows because we can't see them very well anymore. What I was talking about before was, yeah, I really wanted to talk about Faust, but I didn't have enough time. So, you've got to know first that I hadn't read a lot of manga before Shaman King. I mean, it was refreshing to read compared to other shonens, but that was it. I had only read shonens so far, and pretty basic ones at that. I was something like 15, and mangas were not as... I mean, they were everywhere already, but not... There weren't as many as nowadays. I had read several Pokemon mangas, including the... I was going to say the good one. The one where characters are actually called Red, Blue, etc. Several Pokemon manga. Of course, I had read Dragon Ball. Some Hunter x Hunter, which was only beginning at the time, and a few others. But I think the most violent thing I had read at that point was maybe Hunter x Hunter. And so, I'm gonna have to give some context first. In the manga, the manga is already pretty gory at that point. I said it already, but the first part of the tournament has started, and Yo's first opponent was Horo, and it was a very friendly match, and it was really fun. And Silver, who's the Native American guy from the Patch tribe who helps Yo in the tournament, goes, "Hey, your next match is approaching, and please drop. Please don't do it. Please don't fight the guy." To be more precise, he tells it to Anna, who tells you to go anyway. So, but yeah, and at this point we're like reading this and going, "It's all right. You can figure something out." At this point, everything went well for him in every kind of situation. What's the worst that could happen? Is that guy really that scary? Come on. And you know what? I'm gonna... Since I have to wait for this to dry a little bit, I'm gonna straight up pick up the volume and show it to you, because the first chapter where Faust appears is my favorite chapter in any manga, and you don't even have to read it to know why. So Yo is waiting for his opponent. And here's the guy who appears. With this guy with this hat with a little flower on it on top. And he's very non-threatening. And Yo is like, yeah, hi, I'm glad to see you. And the other guy is like, well, I'm happy you're so polite. I was very scared. I thought I was going to meet someone really scary. And Yo's ghost goes, no, 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 this guy, there's something wrong with this guy. He smells like death. And the guy goes, no, it's okay. It's logical. I'm a doctor, so I saw people die. And he goes on to explain how he fought death his entire life, and but he doesn't want just to fight death. He wants to destroy death. And they go, no, it's just impossible to do that. This guy is weird. And you understand he's named Faust because he's a descendant of the first guy. And turns out he's a necromancer. And turns out he's got a necro dog following him around. And turns out his vest was so big because he's got a whole ass skeleton in there. And then he goes, your friend is very small, and he could help me figure out how to destroy death. So I'm gonna wake some skeletons and catch your friend. And the fight hasn't even started yet. And Faust is like, no, okay, I'm gonna try to check what's wrong with this kid. And that page really shocked me at the time. And yeah, that's how this chapter goes. That's the best character introduction in anything ever, if you ask me. He goes from really non-threatening to terrifying in like less than 10 pages. It's just the beginning. This entire fight is completely incredible. And it was really shocking for me at the time. That's not something I expected to happen, even if several characters went, no, you shouldn't fight the next opponent, he's dangerous, he's bad news. Even if people said that, I mean, it's the kind of thing you're going to hear in every manga. Oh, yo, the next opponent is so scary and stuff. But I really didn't expect this level of scary. And turns out Faust is like this and so messed up because his only friend in his entire life was a girl called Eliza, and she had an incurable disease, and he became a doctor just to try to find a cure for it. And he only studied this for years and years and years just to save her, and he saved her, and they fell in love, and he married her, and then she was killed. She was randomly killed by a robber, and she was his only friend and only love, and he completely flew off the deep end because just like he spent his entire life trying to make her live her life, his new goal was to bring her back from death. And if you know me a little, you already know I'm a sucker for characters who have extremely destructive goals based on really, really human motivations. And that's the definition of that. And I'm also a sucker for Faustian pacts in general. So yeah, I was screwed the instant I saw this character. There was no way anyone else was going to be my favorite character in this manga ever. And also, it made me very interested in the legend of Faust, and it made me read several versions of it, and it made me do a lot of research on the topic at the time when I was 15. And because I did so much research, I I was really interested in history all of a sudden. And because I was really interested in history, I decided to study it. And you see where that leads, right? Basically, this manga, and more specifically, Faust, is responsible for my entire uh, studies and part of my career choices. I'm so happy just talking about characters I like. I must sound kind of kind of excited, I know, but and I know it's really silly, but I love talking about things I I'm really passionate about. I'm really passionate about this character. And now you're going to say, wait, why are you so into a character so weird and evil? He's not evil. That's what's interesting about him. He's got this weird innocence about him. He's very he's got this kind of tunnel vision on his goals and not really realizing the the evil he causes around him. And I mean the his goal of destroying death. It obviously it's impossible, but it's not really a bad idea per se. It's just, yeah, no, the way he's going about it, which is crazy. But and he goes to such extremes to follow his own logic. The skeleton, obviously, is his dead love, Eliza, and during the fight, Yo destroys the legs of the skeleton. And as you can guess, Faust isn't very happy about that. Um, he took some really bad hits in this fight too. By the way, Yo almost broke his skull, broke his leg, and impaled him in the chest with a bone shard. Yo took some really bad hits too. To be clear, I think he got 3 broken ribs. And that's, at any rate, he ended in the hospital afterwards. His friend too, by the way. He was okay. He didn't die. But yeah, the Yo broke the legs of the skeleton, and what would any reasonable person do in this situation? I mean, trying to repair it, trying to find similar legs to replace the bones, trying to fix the bones, I don't know, make fake bones, anything. But no. Faust decided the best thing to do was to cut his own legs and give them to the skeleton. So the next time we see him, he's in a wheelchair. And for the rest of the manga, actually, he's in the wheelchair. There is no magical cure or anything, which is something I really liked. And it's also very cool in fights after that, because the guy actually joins Yo's team later, because they're like, wait, the only reason he's like that is because he can't really talk with his girlfriend, his dead girlfriend anymore. If we call back her soul in the form of a ghost, maybe he'll stop being like this, and it works. I mean, he's still really weird, but all the violence is drained from him, and he's just this weird guy at this point, no longer the guy willing to vivisect people in a graveyard. And he joins Yo's team in later stories, and which is kind of great, because you've got situations where opponents are like, okay, who are we fighting today? What is the terrifying team we are going to fight? Let's see. There's a sleepy kid named Yo. Yep, he's basically fallen asleep just before the match. And let's see who's with him. A hobo with a really, really terrible haircut and a wooden sword. And he's wearing an ad for a bathhouse because he has no money. And who's the third guy? Oh, the third guy is a 30-something in a wheelchair who looks like he hasn't slept in 10 years. And an ivy drip. Yep. Terrifying team. And so the opponents go, okay, we're gonna beat the guy in the wheelchair first, because, like, yep, we're going to start with the guy that looks the easiest to kill. And no, they they picked Faust. Oops. So yeah, I think I'm gonna let this dry, and I see you later. Oh, I have to show something to you. Earlier when I said I was copying panels from the manga, I have to show something to you. I was copying stuff with Faust pretty in a pretty obsessional way. I have entire pages of old sketchbooks which are covered with drawings of the guy. So yeah. I'm so giddy just talking about Shaman King, you have no idea. I'm so glad the anime is back. I really hope the episode with Faust will do justice to the character. I literally can't wait. Hey, this is going to be the last part of the video. Don't mind me, I'm just adding blood to the blood. Yeah, as usual, I'm gonna have to make the line art, to remake the line art. But this, as usual, it's not very interesting, so I'm not gonna film it. I'm just gonna film the Posca part. And as you can hear, I'm no longer alone at home, so there's gonna be some noise. I'm sorry about that. And yeah, I was talking about my favorite character. And yeah, it goes with the general philosophy of the manga of Shaman King as a whole, that this really terrifying guy this really terrifying guy who vivisects people in his first chapter becomes one of the good guys later on. Basically, the general philosophy of the manga is, as I said before, it's never too late to change your mind. If you want to change, if you want to be a better person, you can always do that. It doesn't mean people have to forgive you for the terrible shit you did, but you can always change. It's never too late. And yeah, he's one of the most extreme cases of that in the manga. Because yeah, he may do some really evil shit when he first appears. But in the end, he's just participating to the tournament to see his girlfriend again. And that's literally his only motivation, apart from winning against death and curing death. And turns out he kind of achieves both in a way, because yeah, of course Eliza is still dead, but she's a ghost with a soul. After he joins the Yo's group. And yeah, all the horrible shit the guy was doing, all the horrible tactics, intimidation tactics too, were because he was so hell-bent on winning to see her again. And the minute he can see her again, all of the violence goes away. Like, you don't have to do all this shit to see her again. There's another way. We're gonna bring her back, and please stop hurting people. And do you agree to stop hurting people? If do you want to change? And he's like, yeah, I just want to see her. I don't care about anything else. I also like this philosophy that you don't have to forgive people for them to change. You can be a better person, but not seek out forgiveness. You don't have to obtain validation from people you hurt to try to be a better person. Which is a thing you also find in this really short arc with the bear. You don't have to lash out. The bear doesn't have to lash out to be listened to. And basically Shaman King saw all the villains in any media who were like, it's too late, I've hurt too many people, I can't come back from that. And that series, the author basically saw that and said, bullshit, you can stop any minute. You can stop today. We won't like you, but you can stop. Any minute now. And I think that's a good way to see things in life. One other thing I'm not really sure they're going to put in the anime adaptation. We'll see in a few months. Maybe this is going to sound silly because they put it in the new anime anyway, but how do I put this? Everyone's kind of high in this manga. There's a lot of drug references. And Faust is completely high on painkillers all the time, on morphine more specifically. And when I was saying he had an IV drip, yeah, that was that. There's the part that has to be seen to be believed in his fight. In his first fight against Yo, where Yo breaks his leg and he operates on himself to fix his leg in the graveyard. And Yo gets distracted by the skeletons for a few minutes. And when he... And the next time Faust is standing up, he fixed his leg, the skeletons are helping him up. And and he's got a little bottle of painkillers, and he stuck a straw in there, and he's just slurping the thing like it's lemonade. And this visual is yes, I mean the situation was really stressful, but that visual of that guy just drinking painkillers as if it was soda was really, really funny. I'm gonna try if I can find it, but it's that's Faust and his painkillers. I really love this visual. There's a really cool plot point in the story where the Patch tribe is like, okay, we're gonna take a plane and we're gonna go to our village, and the shaman fight, the tournament, we resume there in America. And surprise, they're in the middle of the flight. They are like, okay, we lied. This isn't a plane. This is an oversoul. That's the thing they use in the manga to manifest ghosts into various forms. To make things less complicated, it was a magic plane that wasn't there, and they were just believing the plane was there, so it... yeah. And so the magic plane disappears, and they're like, yep, you're gonna fall from the sky. And yep, that's the new trial of the tournament. Surprise! Please survive the fall. And everyone's like, okay, how can I survive this? And you see a guy manifesting wings with his ghost, a couple of witches flying on broomsticks, kids in a robot, changing the robot into a bird, all sorts of things. And we have our characters, the characters we are following, who are like, okay, we have nothing to fly, so we're just going to make an oversoul at the last minute to cushion the fall, and we're gonna survive that way, and it works. And then you have Faust, and Faust has nothing to fly, and has no idea to survive the fall. And he's like, no, yep, too bad. I'm just going to fall to my death. And I'm high on morphine, so whatever. And he's like, if I survive, I'm going to be completely destroyed. But I don't feel anything, so it shouldn't be a problem either, so. And the next time you see him, like, three volumes later, he's still trying to fix himself. He's full of bandages everywhere, and still in his wheelchair, of course. And he's like basically stitching himself up as if he was a rag doll. That was also pretty funny visual. I mean, I know I've got kind of a dark humor at times, but I thought it was really funny. Okay, I'm going to add some snow. And you might say, how does that work? Basically, you take the Posca and you go like this. I don't know if you can see it, but here's snow. That's also how I make stars. I also make stars manually after, and I'm gonna add snow manually after, but that's the first layer. It's quick and it's random, so it's all I need. I don't know if you can see anything, to be fair. But yeah, I added snow. Now I'm gonna add bigger dots of the little dots. I'm not putting them at random. I'm looking for the bigger dots, the biggest dots in what's already put at random on the page, and I just make even bigger dots over them. Again, I don't know if you can see, but yeah, that's how I'm doing it. I don't want to choose where the biggest ones. I don't know whether I keep saying bigger. Where the biggest snowflakes are. So the randomness of the brush chose for me. One of the reasons I loved this character so much at the time. This is going to veer into too much information territory, but in the previous video I discussed depression. I wasn't depressed per se when I was a teenager, but I was in a really, really bad place mentally. I mean, it's usually the case when you're a teenager, because it's really, really complicated. But I was in a really, really dark place, and I had kind of self-destructive tendencies for years, and they were really bad. And yeah, basically, that's the moment I found this extremely self-destructive character. I mean, the guy, come on, the guy cut his own legs. This extremely self-destructive character, and very violent character too. I was a really I was a piece of shit when I was a teenager too. I mean, and that character finds people who are willing to give him a second chance and be like, you can stop any minute now. You can stop being a piece of shit any minute now, and you can get better, and you can try to be a better person and change the world. And he goes, "Yep, I think I'm gonna try," and he does, and he succeeds. So that was kind of healing in a way, to go from that really, really, really self-destructive guy to this, I'm not gonna say well adjusted, but happier person, trying to do some constructive things to change the world and help people. Like, instead of wallowing in misery and be like, I'm a piece of shit and I'm still going to be a piece of shit forever and I'm still going to be self-destructive forever. Having a character in a manga that was going through something way more extreme than I was going through, and who ends up being able to change and stop being like that. That was really, really important for me as a person. I needed something like that in my life. I think we're okay with the snow. I think we are going to end there, possibly. I'm adding some little bit more dots here and there, but I think we can call this one finished. I'm just going to add more, add the second line art, obviously, but I think we did all right. I'm pretty sure this video is going to be, I'm not gonna say short because it's going to be pretty long, because I went into all these digressions and opening the manga and showing you parts of it, but if there weren't those parts, the video would be pretty short. I did this in record time compared to some of my other things. I'm gonna sign it. So yeah, Horo Horo and the bear. I'm really happy about this one. I think it turned out really nice. I'm glad I did that. I might redo more panels from this manga with my style later. This was really fun to do, and I really enjoyed talking about it too, as you can guess. Shaman King was such an important manga for me, and I'm so glad it's back. So I can't help myself. I almost said nothing about the the drawing itself. I only talked about the manga, but you can understand how passionate I am about it, because it's such an important part of my life, and it changed so many things for me as a person. So yeah, I'm super glad it's back. I'm super glad more people are going to experience this story and these characters, and I hope it's gonna help more people. And if it doesn't, I at least hope a lot of people are going to have fun with it. That's all I hope for the return of my favorite manga in the world. So yeah, see you later.